guys, welcome back to my channel. So it has been a little while since I've done a baby names video, and I don't know what it is, but those videos always seem to do so well on my channel, and I've actually been getting requests lately, quite a few requests to do more. So I thought that I would throw another baby names video into the mix because y'all know that I have a ton of names saved on my phone that I can share with you guys. But today I'm going to do a little bit of a spin on it, and I'm actually going to be sharing with you my absolute favorite biblical names. And these are all just names that I really love that come from the Bible. They're not necessarily names of people. I mean, quite a few of them are, most of them are, but some of them are names of places too. And they're just names that I really love, names that we could definitely use in the future. Whether it be a first name or a middle name. And I'm not going to go into like great detail about every single name. I'm not going to give you like the origin and the meaning and all of that. I might share like a little bit of each one with you, or some of them maybe, I don't really know. But yeah, I'm just going to kind of get through this quickly. And I didn't say, okay, I'm going to pick like my top 10 names or my top 12 or 20 or whatever. I don't even know how many names I have. I'm going to say I probably have around 15, maybe 16 names. I haven't even counted them yet. So we're just gonna go with it, and I am just gonna jump right in. So the first name that I'm gonna share with you is a name that was actually on our short list when we were pregnant with Gunnar, and it's still a name that I absolutely love and could totally use if we have another little boy in the future, and that name is Noah. I love, love, love the name Noah. It is absolutely one of my favorite names for a boy. It's one of my favorite stories in the Bible. I just love the meaning behind it, and for both Chris and I, we just absolutely love that name. The next one is kind of a common name, and it is the name Matthieu, but I would actually want to spell it a little bit differently. I don't know if that spelling is more of like, I think it might be like Swedish, if I'm not mistaken. A long time ago growing up, when I lived in Michigan, I was really big into hockey. I was a huge Red Wings fan. I used to go to a ton of their games. I went to their, their training camp every year. I met a lot of the players quite a few times and hung out with them a few times. I have some stories that I could share with you, but I just loved hockey so much. And there was a guy back then, and his name was Matthieu, and he spelled his name like that, and I just absolutely loved it. In fact, one of my good girlfriends from high school, she ended up having a little boy, and they named him Matthieu, and they spelled it that way. So I don't know that I would ever use that name, but I think it's such a great name. It's a classic name that I always like having like those little twists on the spelling and just making them a little bit different from the ordinary. The next name is a name that I have only heard used once, and that is the name Eden. I love that name so much. I think it is just the most beautiful name for a little girl. I actually, where we used to live, the church that we went to, our pastor there and his wife, they had 3 little girls, and all of them had names that started with an E, and one of them was named Eden. And I always thought, oh my gosh, that is just the cutest name, and I'm so surprised that I haven't heard it more because it is just a really, really beautiful and pretty name to use for a girl. The next name that I have is a name that I actually know several people in real life that have used this name for their little boys, so it's definitely off the table for me, but it is one of my absolute favorite names from the Bible, and that name is Josiah. I love the name Josiah. Actually, one of my really good friends, her son is named Josiah, and they call him Joe, but I just could never use that name. As much as I would love to use it, I couldn't. I can't use names that other people that I know use. I just can't do it. So anyways, but it's a really great name, and I feel like it's getting a lot more traction. I'm hearing more and more people using that name. The next one is the name Chloe, and I love the name Chloe so much. I'm sure some of you are probably like, why? There's no Chloe in the Bible, but there is. She's only referenced one time. There's really not a lot of information on her, but she is referenced, and I've always been drawn to the name Chloe. I just think it is such a cute name. I love names where you can use like the nickname Coco. So Chloe is one of those, obviously. I don't know that we would ever use that name, but I think it is really, really pretty for a girl. The next name is the name Elizabeth, and this is just like a classic name that I've always loved. It has always been on my mind, especially to use as a middle name. I think Elizabeth just kind of rolls off the tongue as a middle name, and it fits so perfectly with so many other first names. I just love it. It's really just a really beautiful and classic name. And it's one of those names that really can grow with you. You know, like some names as an adult, you're kind of like, that's not really a fitting name for an adult, but that is like a good classic name for any age. The next name is the name Phoebe, and I don't know why I'm so drawn to this name. I feel like there's a little bit of a spunkiness behind that name. I just think it's really cute and just kind of fun and different for a little girl. I don't know that we would ever use that name. I don't know that Chris would ever be on board with it, but it is a really cute name. The next name that I really love is the name Benjamin. And I just think Benjamin is such a good classic name. I'm also drawn to names where you can use the nickname Benny for, so whether it's like Bennett or Benjamin. I also really like just using the name Ben too as a nickname. I think that that's just a really like sweet and cute way to say Benjamin, and that's also just a great classic name that I really feel like I don't hear people using that much anymore. I feel like when I was growing up, I had a lot of like Bens and Benjamins in my classes, but like now I feel like I never hear it. Okay, the next name, you guys, is Grayce, and that has been a name for like forever. I have said if I ever have a little girl, I want to name her Grayce Elizabeth. I have just always been so drawn to the name Grayce. I think it's such a beautiful name. Now it's not so much like one of my like top names that I have to have. I feel like a lot of people now use the name Grayce. I feel like I don't know that I would use it now that I think about it. I really love the name Grayce as a middle name as well. But as a first name, I don't know that I would use it just because it has gained so much popularity over the years, but I still love it. It's such a beautiful name. And there's just something about just having the name Grayce, you know, like it's just very like, it's almost ethereal to me, you know? The next name is a name that I absolutely love. Is the name Ezra, and as you guys know, if you've seen any of my other baby name videos, I am so drawn to names from Pretty Little Liars. Like they hit the nail on the head with the names. Such good names. I love pretty much all of them. Ezra is definitely one that I love so much. And honestly, like I am so shocked that more people don't use that name. I feel like I hear so many people say they love that name, but I don't really hear it being used. And I love it. There's like a little bit of edginess to it. It's just a little different. And I really love that name. Okay, the next one that I have is very sentimental to me, and that is the name Daniel. That was my dad's name, and I have mentioned it in previous videos that if we do ever have a little boy again, I would definitely love to somehow incorporate my dad or my grandfather's name. And Daniel was my dad's name. I just love the idea of using that as a middle name. I know that I wouldn't ever use it as a first name, but there's so much meaning behind it for me, and it's just a really special name. So, and he's no longer here. So it's really special for me. And of course, the story about Daniel, and you know, there's just strength behind it. And my dad was a really strong person and just went through a lot in life. So that one is a really special name for me. It's a very classic, common name. I feel like it's not used that much anymore. I feel like back in the day it was more popular, but it's definitely one that I would love to use. The next name is the name Caleb. And kind of going back to utilizing my dad and my grandfather's name. My grandfather's name was Calvin, and you know, I don't think I would ever use the name Calvin, but everybody called him Cal. Everybody referred to him as Cal. And I would love to somehow incorporate that into a son's name as well, whether it be using some sort of name that resembles Cal or kind of uses Cal in it. And then maybe Daniel is the middle name. I'm not really sure. I have some ideas, but I'm not going to share those right now because they're obviously names that I would want to use. But Caleb is definitely one like that I could totally do, because you could use Cal as the shortened version of it. And I just really love it so much. The next one is a little girl's name, and that name is Selah. And I've only heard this name used once. And it's just so pretty and unique and different. And I'm like really super drawn to it. The next name that is a name that I've shared with you guys before, and that is the name Jaymes. But I actually really like using the name Jaymes for a little girl. I've always said that I think Jaymes, spelled with a Y, for a little girl's name is just super precious and adorable. And it just has a little bit of like, I don't know, like fun, like edginess to it as well. So I really love that name. But obviously Jaymes is a good classic name. It's a good family name too. And then the very last name that I want to share with you is the name Abilene. And I think Abilene is so stinking cute. I don't ever hear it being used. And I think calling her Abby, of course, for short would be adorable. But Abilene is just, I don't know, it's a little different and unique, and I just really love it. So those are all of my favorite biblical names that I'm sharing with you guys today. If you enjoy videos like this, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Leave in the comments below what some of your favorites are, even if they're ones that I've mentioned or different ones that I maybe didn't bring up. I always love hearing from you guys and just hearing the names that you guys like to use as well. So thank you guys so much for sharing in your time with me today. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you like watching motherhood and lifestyle content, make sure that you subscribe to my channel. I do upload videos Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye.